Hello and welcome back to another episode where we are playing the game of Foundation. Recently we've been working on trying to rescue our city from the clutches of failure, where we were having a bunch of problems with food shortages and people leaving. And the good news from last episode was that things are starting to look up a little bit. However, as you may have noticed, in order to improve things, I did make a few changes to our, frankly, massive monastery, and it has left the building looking a little bit messy. So I wanted to start off this episode by clearing up this monastery just a little bit. There we go, and I think that's most of the changes I wanted to make enacted now, and I think that's just going to leave this building looking a little bit tidier. So the next task on my job list is going to be continuing building out a few of the dairy farms that we started to build over here last episode. Our food situation is actually looking much better than it has done in a long time. We've got more fish than we know what to do with. We've imported loads of boar that we've turned into a lot of meat. We're pretty well stocked on wheat. We're still slightly inefficient at turning into flour. Might want to look at getting another miller in the village. Pretty good on bread, pretty good on milk, pretty good on cheese. However, I know that as soon as I start welcoming more people into the village, we do tend to face shortages. So I'm trying to build out all of these industries first and build them up in anticipation of wanting to welcome in a few more people so that we can get back to our 1,000 population as we used to have. So I'm going to go ahead and build a couple more dairy farms in the new spaces that we have created. So while our dairy farms are being built, I'm going to consider expanding out our territory. It looks like we've already expanded into this one. But looks like we can expand over here too. And I think these might be our final 3 territories, unless I'm forgetting about a corner. They do cost a little bit to upkeep, but I am planning on pretty much covering this area with dairy farms and food producing buildings, so I may as well go and buy them now. And I've actually run out of money before I had time to buy this last one, so we'll have to save that for another time. And all the forest out here is going to take a little while to get deforested, so I am going to probably go and build just another couple of lumber camps so we can keep that moving at a good speed. And always good to remember that when you're building these lumber camps out in the forest, they still want areas for the lumberjacks to live, so I will build a bit of residential just next to them. And one of our dairy farms has finished being built out, so I am going to go ahead and paint out that pasture. And I realise I've missed a crucial step, which is that I haven't assigned anyone to work at this dairy farm. So let me see if I can grab one more person, and I'll take the other one who's there as well. Put 3 of them in here. And it looks like that field is already adequately sized, so don't really need to do anything to change that. I will just neaten it up a bit. There we go, that's looking good. And I would like to keep building dairy farms, so I'm going to go back over here and build another one just next to this lake. And we've had a few new people arrive, so that is good. We can have them come and work at this dairy farm. And I can go ahead and paint out this pasture. So it looks like this lumber camp has been nearly fully built out. And now it has been fully built out, and I can go ahead and employ 5 people to work here, and they are going to begin to take down all of this surrounding forest. And while we're here, we may as well buy the final territory. Oh, there's actually 2 territory pieces we haven't bought yet. Yes, let's go ahead and buy both of these, soon to be filled with many, many dairy farms. And you may be wondering why I'm still building dairy farms even though we've got lots of cheese, and that is because if I take a look at the royal book and my budget, we're making much smaller losses and generally actually making money a lot of the time now. But if we look at where our money is being spent in terms of trade, we can see we're still buying a lot of cheese and also apparently last month wheat, but I've been monitoring this a bit and consistently we're spending sort of 2,000 or 3,000 coins on cheese, so I would obviously like to keep that as far down as possible, and I may well plant some more wheat fields as well so that we can keep this wheat figure down too. And so with that I will buy these 2 tiles. There we go. I think we now own every tile on the map. And our celebration is going to be to build some more dairy farms, of course. So this dairy farm has also finished being built out and is ready for some workers to be assigned. So let's go and paint this pasture as well. There we go, that's looking good, and we could probably go ahead and build another dairy farm just on the other side of the road here. There we go. So both our new dairy farms over here have been built out, which means we're going to need to welcome in 6 new villagers in order to be able to populate those, and that is going to take us back over 1,000 population for the first time since we sort of hit our wall, so that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to welcome in all these people that have just arrived. There are 4 of them, so we can go ahead and fill up one of these dairy farms and paint out those fields. There we go, that is all drawn out. Now we'll just have to wait for a few more people to arrive. And there's a few more people we can welcome in. So let's go ahead and give them to our dairy farm over here. And at some point soon we're going to have to wait to build out more dairy farms until we've cleared some more forest. So I will just paint this over the bits of land we have available for now. And our other dairy farm over here is also ready to have workers assigned. Although I don't seem to be able to assign them, so I think I need to welcome a few more villagers. So I've gone and collected another couple of villagers to assign to this dairy farm, so let's go ahead and paint out this pasture now. So another problem we've been having a little bit of trouble with is access to goods, and we used to use common wares as our kind of main goods we're selling to our own population, and then we tend to sell candles to the outside world in order to make a bit of money, and common clothes we also kind of keep for our own consumption. So I'm going to be focusing on trying to increase our production of common wares really for now, and that's going to involve making sure that the supply chain is fully functioning. I've turned on tracking for this item so we can see where it's being stored, and my main observation is just that there's not a lot of it around the map. So one of our common wares workshops sits here in town, and the 2 items we need to make common wares are planks and iron. So planks is dependent on our supply of wood, and iron is dependent on our supply of both iron ore and coal. So I need to make sure that we're producing enough iron ore, which it seems like we are, we're pretty good on that, and producing enough coal. That seems to be like, that could be the bottleneck right now. And also that we've got enough wood that's being turned into enough planks, and it looks like maybe wood and coal are the bottleneck at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at those industries and see if we can build them out a bit. When I was working to save the city, I did quite a lot of reallocating people from various production buildings to food production buildings, because that's the item we were really struggling with, and charcoal was one of those areas. So I've been adding people back, and I've just gone through and made sure that all of these charcoal areas are full. We've got one here that needs one more person, but as those people all get back to work, it looks like we need one more here too. We should be able to build up this supply of coal. One element that's a little bit difficult with these coal fields is that it can be quite hard for residents to live close enough for them to be happy. So let's see if any of these guys are happy with their housing. It looks like they all actually are, which is good. I'll check one over here. They all seem happy with their housing. This one's got a problem with rustic food, although there are 1,300 fish, so there should be some about. And let's check over here at the ones we just hired. This guy says he's not happy about housing yet, although his workplace is only 59 metres from his home, so that might just mean that he's not actually visited his home yet. He's way over the side of the map on his free time, and he seems to be taking a visit to the castle, which I guess a castle can be a tourist attraction, so maybe that is what you do on your free time. Ah, he's come to sit on this bench. Well, isn't that nice? Yeah, if we look at where his home is, that is actually perfectly close to where he works. So hopefully that is going to start bringing us in some more coal, and therefore bringing us in some more common wares. I may also need to build a couple more common wares workshops while we're increasing our supply of this too. Also, just as an aside, it looks like last month at least we did manage to get our cheese imports down quite a lot to 402, and our wheat was also low as well, although I didn't import any wheat. Perhaps we just imported more bread rather than importing the wheat last month. But that's good, that cheese number seems to be moving in the right direction. So to try and help with our common wares supply chain, I've just gone through and promoted some of my iron smelters from serfs to commoners, and that has increased the efficiency of these workplaces to 100%, which is very good. Or not efficiency, productivity. So let's see if that has any impact on our supply chain. I'll give that a little bit of time to work, and if it doesn't seem to fix the problem, then we'll go back and try something else. And the people once again are starting to complain a little bit, at least, for some more rustic food. It is amazing how much that fish figure can variate. I've seen it in this episode go from 3,000 to 1,000. So yeah, one of the tricks I think I've learned is simply never sell fish. So I used to sell fish when I got over about 1,500 of it, thinking, oh, well, I've got plenty. But actually, I just stockpile all the fish I always have now, and it does seem to have evened out a bit. We've sort of been through this episode without any kind of big exodus or anything, but it looks like I might now just need to build a couple more fishing piers as well. And we have kind of like two mostly unused fishing spots over here, and the reason we haven't used them is because it's tricky to build this fishing pier without it being built into the wool field, which I don't really like the look of, so I'm going to create a little bit of space in one of these wool fields so that we have some room to put some fishing piers along here. And it looks like it might be a little tricky to adjust this fence, so I might have to go and destroy some bits of it and then rebuild it. I'm not sure if there's a quick way to do this. You can let me know if there is. There we go, so we've applied those changes. And now I've got a little bit of extra room, hopefully, to come and build some fishing piers along here. We're of course going to also need to make sure that these fishermen have enough space to live, which might be the trickier task. And yeah, as suspected, I think most of the houses in this area are full up, so I'm gonna see if I can create any more space for these fishermen to live in. Perhaps if we even just created a little bit extra space over here, that could be good. So our 4 new fishing piers have finally been built out, so let's go ahead and get some fishermen employed in them so that they can help to combat the small rustic food shortage we're having again. And one final thing we can go ahead and do before we end the episode is to improve the Trotbury trade route. So let's go ahead and invest our tools in that. And we have had 5 or 6 people leave at the end of the episode. They are actually all coming from the monastery because of a shortage of monastic food, because once again, we're not making any barrels for some reason, even though we do have a cooperage, so I'm going to have to figure that out next time. One thing I might do is promote our coopers to be... Oh, actually, they're already commoners. I don't really want to promote them to be citizens, because I don't think we'll be able to fulfill all their needs, especially considering they're already a little bit unhappy as commoners. So we'll have to leave them as they are for now. And taking a look at our trade, it looks like we are still importing a massive amount of cheese. So I'll be continuing to work on that in the background as we progress, by building out more dairy farms over here. So I've built another little common wares maker over here as well, in order to try and boost our production of that, which is still looking a little bit low. So let's come and add a couple of workers in here. And I've built this here purposefully because there is nearby housing, which when they get promoted to commoners, they will be happy to live in. And with that, I will leave this episode here, looking over our renovated monastery. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.